New Zealand, Aotearoa. In the past, home to 9 species of moa. Giant swans, giant geese, giant rails, penguins, the world's largest harrier, and largest eagle. But today, we're exploring some of the creatures that have gotten less love than their more well-known kin.
And that's what we're doing here today. How you doing, Mage?
I was trying really hard not to just go, giant geese, what the hell? I want the giant geese given to me.
We're not doing the giant geese today. I didn't get around to the giant geese. I know, but we'll do that another time.
I can't believe they existed. I'm just in awe of the fact that they existed.
Yep.
What is a rail?
A rail is it's like a takahe or a pukeko. They're types of rails.
Okay, so like a swamp hind.
Yeah, like a swampy sort of bird. Yeah. So we'll get around to that. That's actually, I believe the first one on our list is very similar to rails. But only one of the birds we're going to cover tonight is not in the gigantic class. But that's just because I thought it was cute, so I wanted to include it. But we'll get around to that when it's time. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
First up is the Adsbill, or also known as Nutu Haho. I believe I said that right that time, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I got the nod of approval, which roughly translates to striking beak or beak that strikes. Its genus is Aptornis. So I'm going to be saying that tonight. A lot of Latin phrases or Greek phrases. So this is a multilingual episode, as we're going to find out soon.
Kind of has a similar structure to a lot of those like ostrichy-looking things, like birds, eh?
Yes, it does. However, it has pretty much no relation to any of those.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's named the Adsbill after the adze, which is an ancient cutting tool similar to an axe. It's got sort of a large down curved bill resembling the adze apparently. Frankly, I don't see it really. I kind of see it in terms of curvature, but in terms of the actual form of the bill, I don't know. That would be more like a duck beak. I feel resembles more like an adze in my opinion, from what I can tell. I don't know.
I guess it's more the sharpness I think in there that I see, because it is quite, like that nice sharp cutting.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Anyway, so they were first found in St. Bethan's, Otago. They're around 16 to 19 million years old, which is early Miocene epoch. That's the epoch which is sort of it's mid tertiary, which is the rise of the mammals. So not too long after the Cretaceous period. We're talking about maybe 10 million years, I think, something like that off the top of my dome, but I'm not 100% sure there. Yeah, and as you can see right there is an Adsbill carcass, skeleton. That's a better way to put it, I think.
yeah, carcass, it's because there's no meat on it.
Yeah, it's not really, no. I suppose maybe they're synonymous in certain terms, but yeah, that's a skeleton of an Adsbill right there. So it came in 2 species, which was the North Island Adsbill, Aptornis otidiformis.
Holy shit!
I know.
What the fuck?
Yes. White guys know how to name them, right?
Oh my god, I love that. Otidiformis.
Yes, and I checked how to pronounce that one. That is Aptornis otidiformis. Or the the South Island Adsbill, which is Aptornis deforsor.
Boring.
Lame. It's no otidiformis.
Right? Like, I feel like you should have started with that one. Like, you didn't do it any favors by putting it after the tittyformis.
I thought I should go north to south, as, I don't know. I wanted to end with the south.
Okay, quick side tangent that's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously view North and South Island the way that we view it, but a lot of Maori view it the opposite way around.
Oh, no,
Because if you think about it, the Polynesians came from this way,
Mhm.
so to them, the North Island was the first island they hit, and the South Island was ahead of it.
Yep, no, and that's a tangent we could maybe get into. But
Oh,
a lot of
did
it's well,
I jump the gun, did I?
maps is my thing. No, it's not even like that's not even a discussion that we have slated in here. It's just maps is my thing, but it's a common thing you hear. People saying how we're the corner of the world or whatever, but a lot of that's all based on perspective, the way how you see it. I never really say that, like we're in the corner of the world. To me, we're in this is the center of my world, is New Zealand. So I don't really view it outside that lens. I view everyone as being far away from us. Whereas when you hear a lot of politicians talking about things, it's like we're tucked away in the corner of the world, that kind of thing. Anyway.
I mean, we're right in the middle of one of the biggest oceans.
But
Just vibing.
well, part of the reason I was wanting to do this, guys, maybe I should have done the spiel beforehand, was I'm wanting to get a little bit away from political talk, because I think we were doing this recently. We were talking to people, and you sort of proposed the question: where was the last time you took your head out of politics? It's and it can be stressful for people. So I just wanted to sort of go off into less political type content and just do stuff that's more off the beaten track and more talking about just our homeland and where we come from and that kind of thing. So, and not all these episodes are necessarily going to be non-political or anything in nature. It's hard to avoid that inherently. Even this will have some environmental
for sure.
stances we'll be taking. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking about extinct
Totally.
animals, so it's gonna go into environmentalism at some point inevitably. But that's partly why we're doing this. But we digress.
Well, I think it's also good. Lastly though, I just want to say it's also really good because I think most of us didn't get a lot of actual good education about the history of our country. So that's the other part that I'm excited is trying to fill some of those gaps.
That's another thing. As someone who's a big fan of history, you see all this amazing shit going around with all these other countries with rich histories, but New Zealand sort of, even its own historical classes, seems to get swept aside quite a bit. It seems mostly what you hear about is the Treaty of Waitangi or like World War One Gallipoli, and that almost seems like it's it, or maybe the Springbok tour, and that's sort of like. It's like 101 for high school history, and then next thing you know,
it's definitely very surface level.
Exactly, but
if you do learn some of the Maori stuff, it's like, oh, they came here and all came here at once and just stayed here.
It's so simple. Yeah, they arrived just one day, and then they were all agreed, like, yep, we are Maori. That's it. We're Maori now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway. Moving on. So back to the Asbill. Like the moa, it's a heavy flightless bird with large beaks. However, unlike the moa, it was a carnivorous bird, or at least it's pretty much thought to be at this point. That was a long speculated thing until recently. We'll go more into its diet later, but it's pretty much been all but confirmed it was carnivorous at this point. The placement within the bird family tree has been debated over a long time. Originally, it was mistaken for a small moa or adolescent moa when it was first discovered. Later, it was thought to be the cousin of the kagu, which is the national bird of New Caledonia.
Okay.
Yeah. However, since a 2011 genetic study, they have now believed to be in the order of gruiformes, meaning crane-like, which contains trumpeters, cranes, rails, and flufftails, as you can see here, with the trumpeters up here. The flufftails, yes, flufftails, which is like an African bird. Yeah, this makes them close cousins of other rails like takahe and pukeko. In 2019, 2 studies came out, one suggesting they were more related to the trumpeters of the Amazon. It's like using a bones and feathers sort of study. And the other study linked them to the African family commonly referred to as the flufftails, and that was a genetic DNA study. As you can see here, that's seems to be the more accepted study at this point. As you can see where it's placed on the family tree, it's pretty much right beside the flufftails here. And the trumpeters, where it was placed on that bone and feathers study, is all the way over here. So not quite that close to those ones, as you can see. So I went through and highlighted them so it's much easier for everyone to see there.
Well, I mean, even family tree wise, like that makes what flufftails are the parents of adze bills.
Yeah, more or
essentially.
Less. It's not quite how it works, but yeah, it's a decent way to think about it.
The trumpeters are like cousins, however many times removed.
Yeah, they're a few times removed. Exactly, but they are all under the same family. Sorry, order, not family.
Yes.
Yeah. Where was I? So
I can kind of see how they would have got like mistaken for more though. As little baby ones.
Yeah, well, because what the moa is I believe its order is Dinoneathiformes, is the order that the moa belongs to.
So dino? Okay.
Yeah, dino. Yep, or dino. Dinoneathiformes, forms, and guriforms are not considered closely related groups, so they're pretty far away from each other, despite them looking probably quite a lot alike, and filling sort of similar roles and having similar structure, I suppose. Well, because something I've realized recently when I went to the Auckland Museum, I actually read this there, was I think the moa is the only bird we've discovered that completely just has no wing bones. Not only is it not flightless, it has no bones left over from its wings. This thing does, still too. So yeah, we can actually see remnants of how it used to fly, whereas the moa was just like it had nothing there, not even stumps. Yeah. Their ancestors could most likely fly, based on their presumed relation to the southern African flufftails, and that's probably where they migrated from, was from Africa. Yeah, millions of years ago, but yeah.
That's cool.
Cut off from their potential.
That's kind of cursed.
Yeah, it's Te Papa for you. But even this gives you a bit more of a. You could mistake this if there wasn't a scale there next to like a goose or whatever it is, for a moa. It looks
a goose.
Yeah, I think it's a goose, or maybe it's one of the giant geese. I'm not sure. Doesn't actually say what it is.
It's probably a goose.
Yeah, probably a goose. But you could see why it'd be perhaps mistaken for a moa. It's very resemblant of them. But yeah, being cut off from their potential competitors, such as the famous Phoraserids, which are the terror birds, if you're not familiar with them. Okay. Any of my friends who watched Walking with Beasts, you'll know about the terror birds. They were apex predators that sort of filled that gap after the dinosaurs died out. So this was sort of in that realm of where birds were sort of, filling that gap.
Just
of
stop
apex
being
predator.
Dinosaurs.
Just stop being dinosaurs. Birds were like, hey, it's our turn to fucking come in and take over shit. And then mammals were like, nah, we're OP.
Nah.
Yeah, so they decided to hack the system. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but they filled the niche of a large predator bird left open due to New Zealand's isolation to the other continents even during this time. Standing around 1 meter tall. That's about how high they were. The South Island Asbill, which weighed up to about 19 kilograms, was about 20% heavier than its northern counterpart. So South Island wins again.
That makes sense.
Yep.
They're colder, they need more to keep them going.
Exactly. And they weighed up to about maybe 16 kilograms from what we're aware of. They're
chunky.
Chunky bastards. Thought to about quadruple the force of a kiwi's beak in terms of thrusting the beak into the ground.
Dang.
I tried to get a little bit of research onto how much force that might be. It was hard to figure out. It's probably somewhere between 10 to 30 newtons, which is about 1 to 3 kilos of force. Therefore, an adze would have about 40 to 120 newtons, which is roughly the bite force of a cat. For comparison there, so that's about how much force that beak would have. So probably not enough to do too much damage, but it could hurt you if it really wanted to, or if you let it. They were assumed to have been diggers due to their powerful feet, downward curving pick-like beaks or adze-like beaks. They mostly preyed on invertebrates like Aotearoa and giant worms. They also preyed on lizards, tuataras, and chicks of burrowing nesting birds such as kiwi, possibly seabirds, and I've seen some speculations that perhaps baby moa were also preyed upon, but I couldn't find anything credible to substantiate that. It's just sort of been discussed, but hey, it's possible that they may have also gone after baby moa, so yeah.
Go after giant geese and baby moa.
Some of the larger prey may have been even less frequent in their diet due to, back then, the possibility of more insects, frogs, and lizards during the pre-mammal days, which is pretty much seen in predator-free islands now, which they have thriving lizard, frog, and insect populations there. So it's quite possible its predation on those larger prey was extremely rare, if at all, at the time. So most likely its diet consisted of frogs, lizards, and insects, mainly.
Pretty good diet.
Yeah. Delicious. Have you ever had a weta?
No, I've never had a weta, but I don't think they freak me out. I don't like them. I've
what
seen
about
it,
hoo-hoo?
but oh no, I've never actually seen a hoo-hoo. I don't think I could. Again, I don't think I could do it. I know it's supposed to just taste like peanut butter or some shit, but
That's what they say. But
I don't know about that. It seems a bit fucking shady if you ask me.
Yeah, it's what people say to trick you. Just tastes like peanut butter. Yeah, that's rubbish. Still, it's
no peanut butter garbs.
So it's possible that they were nocturnal as well, or relied partly on their smell to detect prey, due to their big olfactory capsules, which is basically their nasal passage. I think if we go back a couple of slides, you'll see it there, the big big
right,
nasal hole right there, which is pretty much the indication that they may have used their smell a lot to detect prey. So they inhabited the eastern regions of both islands. Apparently they preferred shrublands or mixed podocarp beach forest. I think I have some of that here. Yep. This is potentially what their environment may have looked like. Although you see Central Otago down here, I believe I have. Yes, they were apparently largely absent from West Coast and Central Otago. So probably weren't really in those areas, but this is more or less what the environment would have looked like that they would have hung around. They're assumed to have been much more plentiful pre-Holocene, which is the current epoch we're in. So before sort of current day modern human times, we expect they probably were a lot more populous in New Zealand. And this was mainly due to the Ice Age, colder environments and drier, cooler conditions, which would have allowed them to thrive more.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they probably weren't as widespread as the moa. But they were subjected to. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure why that is. I'm not too much as actually speculated as to like why they weren't as widespread as the moa. I think it's just basically based on remains we've found, and probably most likely the moa would just sort of bullied them. It was much better at occupying that sort of niche.
Much bigger fish, I think.
Bigger fish, so they had less room to sort of compete, I think, despite being predatory birds. They were subjected to the same hunting pressures as these and other large birds by the settling Māori, and predation of eggs and hatchlings by Polynesian rats and dogs that came along with them also contributed to their decline. They became extinct before the arrival of European explorers, and they disappeared roughly around the 1400s, same time as the moa pretty much. So, or at least that's thought to be.
Which is approximately 200 years post Polynesian contact. Because Polynesian contact years approximately 12. They estimate between 12 and maybe 1300, but it seems likely close to 1200.
Yeah, so look, that was the Asbill. As I said, it's one of those ones. I really wasn't too familiar with it. I didn't know it was a carnivorous bird. I just thought it was a smaller version of the moa up till now. That was pretty much my understanding of it. So,
Hell yeah.
Kumimanu, which is one of the favorites I've been researching recently. It apparently is te reo for monster bird.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and this is a big boy. This is a big boy. We'll get into it. There's 2 known species of Kumimanu. Kumimanu bca, which translates, which is pretty much Bice's penguin, is the other name for it. It was found in 2004, revealed around 2017 after it had been studied fairly extensively. It was found around the Moraki boulders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So down that area around Otago. Kumimanu Fordyce, or Fordyce's penguin, I think that's how you say the guy's name, who was a paleontologist who was involved on both these finds. So the second one actually wound up getting named after him. It was found in 2017, the same year that the BCA was revealed, and this one wasn't revealed until about 2023. So this is a very fresh sort of.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like, I was going around to some museums and stuff, and they've got sort of old info on other giant penguins, but none of them really bring up Kumimanu Fordyce. It's very fresh in terms of information, and because of that, we don't really know a lot. Again, this one was found in Otago. So yeah, Dr. Jade Bice and Richard Ewan Fordyce. There we go. I got the pronunciation written there. It's Fordyce, I believe. Both New Zealand paleontologists who have made significant contributions to the field. Fordyce, again, played a key role in both these discoveries. Yeah. So Kumimanu Fordyce was the larger of the 2 Kumimanu penguins. It belongs to the order of, let me say this one right, Spheniciformes, which is the penguins, I believe. Just that's what a pheniciform is, as far as I'm aware. Although there's a bit of debate about that, not whether or not that's the penguins, but originally there was another bird that was called penguins before current penguins were called penguins. So it's
so like a completely different genus.
Yes,
sort of thing.
completely different, I think, order of bird was originally called penguins, and then when modern day penguins were discovered, they continue calling them penguins because they looked kind of like this other now extinct bird. Yeah, so it's kind of an argument to be made that the penguins, as you know them, are not real penguins. There's a video you guys... Cool. Yeah, you can go check out a video. I think it was Clint's Reptiles. He made a video on this quite recently, which pretty much goes more in depth there if anyone wants to know about that. Yeah. So, it was about 60 to 55 million years old, this penguin, which is roughly 5 to 10 million years after the Cretaceous extinction of the dinosaurs. So that would be late Paleocene to early Eocene epoch. This thing would have been around. As you can see, it's sort of indicated down here. These two are pretty much the same thing, repeated twice. You've got Kumimanu, BCA, and Fordyce right there. And this is about where they would have appeared in the late Paleocene, carrying on somewhere to about the mid-Eocene epoch right there is where they would have disappeared with the rise of the crownwood penguins. I'm actually not too sure which ones those are. I'm assuming those are probably modern-day penguins, but I'm not 100% sure. I did not confirm that. But it looks like these things were fruitful and multiplied a lot by the looks of the implications going on here.
Yeah, I see some proliferation, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so Fordyce got big. They took advantage again of the gap in the predator market. This may have been the largest penguin to have ever lived. We're pretty damn sure it was the heaviest. It's thought to be the largest fossil penguin ever discovered at about 154 kilograms was the estimate I found in the paper study I read. Yep. It's a fucking fat penguin, right? So that's a little asterisk to put on there, but they pretty much use this for all penguins that they do studies on. That's arrival at colony mass is what they use.
Wait, how tall are they?
So the height is. We'll get a little bit into height, but it's estimated that they were maybe around 2 meters, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, so they would
I'm just trying to think about what 150 kgs would look like on, you know.
But because penguins and stuff go through a very vicious cycle of weight change throughout the year, they choose they chose arrival at colony mass to base that on, mainly because we got the most base reference. That's where most specimens have been picked up, is arriving at colony for weights and stuff like that, and that's usually when penguins are at their largest. So that's pretty much that's pretty much about the heaviest it would have gotten, probably around 150 kilograms. But it's been competing for the largest Arctic penguin against other penguins such as Anthropornis, Pachydiptes, and Crossvillia, which are other big giant penguins, if you know what we're. There's a whole family of giant penguins out there, so if you guys are curious, go
whole family of giant everything.
I know. Some big motherfuckers.
I want
penguins.
my dire penguin.
Yeah, and those ones I just mentioned, they're estimated about 115 kilograms, something like that. So this thing's about 50% of the mass on top of that. You know, these were big, even in comparison to the other giant penguins we've found. Yeah. So here we are. Here's a bit of a height comparison. So emperor penguins, which are the tallest and heaviest of all living penguins current day, they weigh about 20 to 45 kilograms and stand at about 1 meter. As you can see, that's the emperor penguin down here.
Ah, yes,
yep.
yes.
And here's Fortisei over here. So height of Fortisei is unconfirmed. We're not really sure yet, but its cousin species, BCA over here, which stood around 1.7 meters, and we have much more information on that one, but it's possible they got up to at least around 2 meters, which I've sort of depicted here as standing about 2 meters high. So yeah, even compared height-wise and weight-wise. Much taller than me. Much taller than you, much taller than me, much heavier than you, much heavier than me, much heavier than its cousin BCA over here. So yeah, it blows pretty much, as long as none of this changes, it blows pretty much all the others out of the water. Also, just a note here.
I'm just
That wasn't an intentional pun. I'm sorry. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the fat manus that this manu could do off the wolf.
Hell yes.
That was why I was laughing.
Especially if you've seen like penguins shoot up out of the water, they get some air.
Oh yeah, they can.
Yeah, well
have you seen Happy Feet?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I literally was watching that actually only I think I rewatched that only like last month.
Damn. I was going to do that
good.
afterwards, so maybe I'll have to do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but as you can see, this is also highlights the bones that they've found. So it's not much. It's pretty much this vertebrae here. We've got the wing bone here. We've got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but that's really it for what we've found of Fortisei up to this point. But I read the entire pretty much analysis, very dry, but you can sort of see going through that, like how they come to a lot of these conclusions. A lot of it's to do with scarring and stuff, and it's drawn off other discoveries made and basis of other penguins living today. It's as dry as it is interesting reading through and just seeing how they sort of come to these conclusions. Even then, they admit in these studies, they're like, yeah, it might be somewhere like this or this. We're not 100% sure, but it's probably more likely this. And that's why you sort of get a lot of updates to science evolves over time. That's the simplest way to put it.
Well, I mean, the easiest way to explain it too is that in statistics, whenever you're doing an experiment, all you're proving is that the result is not none. You're not technically proving that what you have is 100% the right thing. Mm-hmm. You're just proving that it's a little bit closer and a lot, probably more right. Mm-hmm. That's why, like you say, everything evolves.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, this thing was big guy. Not as well adapted for swimming as modern penguins. That's evolution for you. So this thing was probably not the greatest swimmer, at least if you compare them to modern day penguins. Yeah, well, big, but that might have had its own advantages. So it retained ancestral features needed for aerial flight, which made it less optimal underwater. Probably mainly seen like its wings and stuff. And this. It also apparently is thought to have employed less efficient swimming stroke than other modern penguins. However, it was probably better at conserving body temperature in cold waters due to their size, and it also may have been able to dive deeper and further due to being so big. I think that might be something to do with being able to hold your breath. I'm not exactly sure, but that seems to be a pretty accepted phenomenon.
Like a lung capacity.
Yeah, I didn't go too deep into that, but it seemed to be a pretty accepted thing in the scientific community, at least marine biology, was that bigger is usually better for wanting to dive, apparently, more or less. So, yeah.
I guess that makes sense. You're heavier, so you go down further and have the lung capacity to get yourself back up.
Yeah, but you think that would make you more buoyant, but then again, I don't really know that much about deep diving, so who knows, maybe. Yeah. So, yeah, but this is maybe some of the environment. I couldn't actually find any real discussion about the environment that they may have lived in, but considering they were around Central Otago, they were penguins, they were probably coastal. I just sort of put in these images here to sort of give a good idea of the kind of places they would have hung out. There's Moraki down there. And as you see, I think it's a rock hopper penguin, and there's the yellow eyes just sort of, I don't know, just going for it, just vibing. Yeah, they're having a good time. One was waving. Yep. So they were probably wiped out due to competition, possibly due to a combination of direct predation, pressure, or competition for prey, mainly from probably seals who would have been evolving around the end of their lifetime.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and they would have sort of also possibly monopolized their nesting sites as well. So a combination of those sort of things. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's more or less, I think, everything we have on Fortisay for now. Insane, chonky beast of a penguin. Next up is the laughing owl, or aka the white-faced owl, or the laughing jackass. In Te Reo, it is the Fico, or Fairco. Is that closer? Fairco. There you go. Not co. Fairco. And I couldn't really get a direct translation, apart from it's just referring to the laughing owl itself. So if anyone knows, let us know, please, if you have a actual direct translation for that. Its scientific name...
Actually, I can probably do that.
You could probably do that?
Don't mind me, I'm just Googling in the background.
Its scientific name is Ninox albifacies. So...
That's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. Albifacies. Formerly known as Scilogorx albifacies. So it was in its own genus. It was moved from Scilogorx to being in Ninox, which is now the... with other owls, such as the moorpork, which is depicted right here. This cute little thing down here, but not as cute as this guy, I think, personally. That's my personal opinion, but I think this thing is much cuter than the moorpork, personally. As you can see over here, it's kind of missing that white face. Maybe it's an adolescent thing where the younger ones didn't have it, but it...
The face also kind of reminds me of like a Kia or something like that.
Yeah, no, it is, yeah, or like a kakapo. Yeah, it's got that sort of
Yeah,
face,
the kind of almost parrot face.
Yeah, no, I can actually see that now. Yeah, but it was thought to be its own genus. Then we sort of, it was a 2016 genetic study that put it into its, the genus Ninox, which is the same as moorpork and other owls, and this is of the family Strigidae, which is apparently known as true owls. So this thing is a true owl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, apparently there's a few different families of owls. I didn't go too much into that, but yeah, this comes under the true owls. which you can see here is Ninox, which has about 36 species of different owls, which are all found around sort of Polynesian Asia area, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. It is New Zealand's only endemic owl, or was New Zealand's only endemic owl. The moorpork is actually found in other places like Australia and I think some small Pacific islands. It's actually found over
like
there.
the pukeko.
Yeah, exactly.
I only learned that recently, and I was it buzzed me out. I was like, "What the fuck do you mean, pukeko aren't like?" I think I'm so used to so many of our birds being like indigenous birds that I kind of forget that we do actually have quite a few others.
Indigenous endemic birds. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, this was the only endemic owl in New Zealand.
I'm just making a face because I'm looking up fair coat, and as a noun, it actually means internal organs.
Ew.
Like intestine, bowels, entrails, guts.
Well,
interesting.
We won't speculate on that too much as to why that might be the case. Who knows? So yeah,
that owl might fuck you up.
It might fuck you up. Maybe that was it. But apparently not, because many reports allude to it being a fairly unwary and gentle-natured bird. These photos sort of alluding to that. It was apparently relatively fearless or indifferent towards human presence, which allowed people to get fairly close on approach. As you can see by these pictures, they're fairly close up. And I just love this picture down here. I know, like, look at that.
Yeah, same.
It's like a Tinder shot. Like,
right? Just such beautiful birds. Although the one on the top left is a little kind of like...
I don't know.
Looks like he just woke up.
Well, even in its sort of like, I'm mad because it's got a mouse in its mouth, so it might just be like, fuck off, this is my food.
Yeah, true. No, I didn't realize that was a mouse.
Even then, it's still looking pretty cute. Got these big eyes.
Yeah.
Beautiful looking thing.
Surprisingly chill, considering you'd think they'd be more aggressive when like food might be, being challenged.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's one of the 16 bird species that came extinct after European contact. The last known specimen was collected in 1914 in southern Canterbury, near Timaru. That was not long after being declared a protected species in 1910. So 4 years. 4 years after they were like, this is a endangered species, we need to protect it, it was gone. Or at least that was the last known sighting that we would ever seen.
I bet I know why.
Yeah?
You know why? Because
Yeah?
they didn't have Bird of the Year.
Oh, or John Oliver. Yeah, John Oliver could have saved us.
Right? See? Exactly.
So, yeah, they might have survived up until the 1930s. We're not 100% sure. There's dubious claims of sightings ranging from about 1925 all the way up to 1985, but none of those are confirmed, so it's all just sort of up to you to decide whether or not any of those are credible. They are often called, they're often described as the laughter of... The call is often described as the laughter of a madman, which is, of course, where it got its name, the laughing owl. Thomas Henry Potts described it as a series of doleful shrieks similar to, but louder and more strident than the call of a cook's petrel. Other sources have said it could be heard incessantly on rainy nights in South Canterbury. A prolonged cack, 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 similar to, but slower and more guttural than the call of a mottled petrel. So a lot of describing. Apparently, it's quite similar to a petrel by the sounds of it. It's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, and sort of like to sing during rainy nights, apparently.
That's what I was noticing. I was like, okay, well, you're either complaining or you're loving it. Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
Probably loving it.
Yeah, a bit of like a chicken behavior, like a rooster behavior, because it seemed to also have some reporting of enjoying cawing more during like sunrise, sundown, those types of times as well.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, here we are. Calls were reported being more frequent during dusk, especially before rainy nights. So there you go. Or during rain. Some other descriptions of its call were a peculiar barking noise, just like the barking of a young dog, or precisely the same as two men cooeying to each other from a distance. Or a melancholy hooting note. That's as many descriptions as I could find. I actually did.
Interesting.
I actually went and got a modeled petrel, just so I could sort of try and figure out what it might have sounded like. So here's a little bit of a audio clip as to what the laughing owl may have sounded like.
Oh, that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Yeah, so that
is like a horror movie. What the fuck?
Well, it's probably a bit...
Could you imagine hearing that at night?
It might be a bit freakier because weird audio artifacts and stuff, possibly. But yeah, that was apparently...
No, that's still terrifying.
Based on descriptions.
Kind of sounds like...
Yeah. That's how it earned its name, I guess, because that's more or less how it sounded.
Yeah, that laughing is... I mean, to me, that was more like the laughing of a... Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's definitely giving horror story. Definitely giving, like, if you were outside in the dark and you heard that, you'd start walking a bit fucking faster, if not running.
Yeah. And that was one of the descriptions earlier on, was the laughter of a madman, as it was quite commonly described.
I would definitely say a lot more like that. Not just like it's not like a ha ha ha.
And assuming that was legitimate, that was probably the case as to what it sounded like, honestly. So I'd probably go with that too as a descriptor. Yeah. Look at it, beautiful, cute little thing. Even when it's taxidermied, it looks so cute. I don't know how it does it.
It is.
So calls were measuring up to around 45 centimeters. It was a moderately sized owl. It was about twice the size of a moorpork. The females were generally larger than the males. However, the males were apparently thought to have richer coloring. Plumage is lighter yellowish brown, with streaks of darker brown and white, and this cute little white face, which just kind of adds to like the anime eyes. And if you've seen a moorpork's got like the sort of cat eyes that are like yellow and sort of piercing your soul, whereas this one's a bit very more human. I think that's why it's so cute. They're sort of brown and they got the black pupils. You know?
The way you just spoke about a moorpork, I was like, wow, what did they do to shit in your fucking cereal?
Well, nothing. They're just not...
Cute. What are you talking about?
They're just not as cute. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, they're not as cute, but they're not that, like... I mean, at least they don't sound like they're about to fucking murder you.
That's true.
At least they're just like, moorpork. Like, their sound is cuter.
They definitely win the sound competition of cutest sound, so, you know what?
But I do think that the face of this one is very adorable, especially because it's almost like got big, chunky cheeks as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, no, beautiful. They lived in fissures or deep crevices of limestone cliffs, possibly tree holes, before large-scale forest clearance, probably mostly for housing and farms. They preferred drier and rocky biomes, either in open country or at the margins of scrub forest. Some of the sites were used for many generations. Takaka cave site, which was in the Tasman area, is thought to have been continuously inhabited for more than 10,000 years. Or around that.
Damn.
So, yeah, when they moved in, they were there to stay. They're like, I ain't fucking moving. They're the grumpy old guy that's like, I've been here for so many generations, can you fuck off? I'm not moving.
Yeah.
They were apparently a predatory bird with a very diverse diet. They hunted weota, weevils, beetles, birds, tuatara, lizard, and fish. In middens, which is like sort of the remains that's found at like a site or whatever when they do excavations.
Yeah. They're almost like a trash.
Yeah, it's basically going through rubbish, yeah. So in those they've found 2 species of frog, 3 bat, 4 gecko, 7 lizard, and I've seen reports of up to 43 different species of native bird, including kiwi, ducks, and moorpork. So they may have even eaten their younger little brother there, the moorpork. So
Ratchet.
That's not so cute. So again, not so cute in that department, I suppose. eating the other Morpork and the Kiwi. Yeah, settlers from eastern Polynesia allowed the arrival of Kiore, Pacific rat. I think I said that right.
I love them. They're so cute.
Which fed on the owl's prey, particularly invertebrates, also preying on the owl's young. As a result, their diet began to shift to one that was more mammal-based. So once Polynesian settlers came, their diet actually shifted as a result. Their size allowed them to deal with the introduction of rats and mice from both Polynesian and European settlers, which caused much of the eradication of their prey, but that issue alone may not have completely destroyed them. They may have actually weathered that storm, at least for quite some time, because they just partly due to their size and their ability to adapt to the situation. But despite this, and despite still being common when European settlers arrived, by the late 1800s, the species was becoming rare. Clearance of its habitat to create farms ravaged their population. The introduction of stoats, ferrets to control rabbits, again another pro-farming measure, as well as cats, also affected them catastrophically. I know. Possibly.
Swear to God. Fucking farming.
I know. How many problems. Everyone talks about farming being the saving grace, but how many problems has farming caused? That's what we don't talk about.
Exactly.
Jeez, guys.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, to be fair, I found it quite crazy that I didn't realize that there were areas that were once swamplands that they managed to drain and turn into farmland. Like, that still blows my mind. Like, I know it's possible, but when I try to actually tangibly think about it, my brain just 404s because I'm like, what? Just completely terraform some shit? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what are we, Dutch? That guy decided to keep going. We're not Dutch.
Yeah, nah, he pussied out.
Yeah.
His mates got murdered and he was like, nah.
Mates got murdered. I am not sticking around here. I'm sure they'll name something after me one day. And we did. A few things. Yeah. And possibly with the addition of some diseases and introduced parasites, microorganisms may have also contributed to their decline. Probably not helped by the fact that it spent much of its time on the open ground as well. So that would have made it a bit more susceptible to other predators, especially people's dogs and cats, stuff like that. Not to mention direct hunting.
That was on the ground a lot.
Yeah, well, I think that was just a habit just from pre-European even pre-human settlement. That it just would have been like, oh, there's not much to fear down here. I'm a pretty big.
True.
I'm a pretty decent sized bird, and there's nothing to come really attack me. What am I gonna do? And if Asbill comes out of nowhere, I'm just gonna fly away. So, yeah. Yeah. Not to mention, there was also direct hunting from humans for museum specimens, curio collections, and for zoos. Would have also contributed to its decline. Yeah. And that's the. Oops, sorry about that. Edit that out. But yeah, moving on. And
what?
Last but not least, possibly my favorite, Heracles Inexpectatus, aka Squawkzilla. Possibly the best name tonight. Yes, it's
legitimate name.
Legitimate. Well, that's its nickname. That's not like a scientific name, but Heracles Inexpectatus is its sort of sitting.
Right.
It's sort of temporary scientific name, because what they have to do is they still have to figure out what genus and order and all that stuff it belongs to, and then you base the name partly on the genus. So it might get a rename sometime in the future once we finally figure it out.
Is that kind of what the Inexpectatus is? It's kind of like unexpected.
Yes, and that partly goes into, we've got a little bit of a story here as to how this discovery actually went down. It was originally discovered on a riverbank near St. Bethans in central Otago. From a lot of the research I've done, that seems to be a bit of a hot spot for finding a lot of fossils.
I was going to say, I feel like that was the other ones as well.
Yeah.
Or at least one of them.
No, at least like St. Bethans almost specifically, it seems to be like there's a lot of fossil digging down there. I'm not sure particularly what it is about the area that makes it so easy to find. Maybe it's easy to dig. Maybe it's just because it's in the middle of nowhere and it's just easy to find lag to dig in. I'm not sure. But yeah, the fossils were among a series of other remains. The same site had already revealed 3 small species belonging to the genus Neolipsiticus. Neolipsiticus. That's the genus. It's a genus of extinct parrots under the family Strigopidae, which is around the size. They found another set of bones that were also around the size of a Kia in that same sort of bundle. So yeah, Neolipsiticus. That's fucking hard to say.
Yeah.
Initially, however, it was not assumed to be a parrot, mostly due to its large size. For about a decade, it sat in a bag marked eagles. That's yeah, exactly. It's just sitting in a bag in the middle of nowhere.
That's just wild.
Yeah, just like, this ain't no fucking parrot. This is an eagle. Eventually, a doctoral student, Ellen Martha, decided to take another look. From what I found in one of her anecdotes, she said she had actually, over her studies, she had been training herself to spot a raptor bone on site. And so once she came and looked at the bones, she was like, that ain't no fucking, it's no eagle. So I got a quote here. She said, straight away, I thought, it's a big bird, but it's no eagle. She got a supervisor, Trevor Worthy, who's also known as Mr. Mower, who's done, who's done a lot of contributions to the field of mowers, I guess.
Well, I guess, yeah, right, like, so the archaeological...
Yeah, archaeology, probably particularly pertaining to more in mower discoveries, I would say, but I wouldn't be shocked if his contributions don't just stop at more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Apparently, they were both stumped and contemplated the possibility of it being an adze bill. Apparently Trevor Worthy came back a few days later after going on doing some more tests and analyzation and said, it's a parrot. It's a fucking parrot.
Nice.
Yep. To date, every parrot fossil has been smaller than kakapo, but this one comes in about twice the size and is about similar in proportion to the kakapo. So it's about double the size of a kakapo. Martha said, it all took us by surprise. We weren't really expecting a giant parrot. And ultimately, that landed at the name Heracles Unexpectedus. Because, yes, it was
I love that.
Big motherfucker, and it was unexpected. It's thought to be a member of the family of NZ parrots, Strigopidae, which I mentioned before. That includes kakapo, kaka, and kia. It is thought to be less likely related to the genus Nestor, which contains the kaka and kia. As you can see up here, this is Nestor, the genus Nestor, and is thought to be closer related to the kakapo, which is the genus Strigopidae down here. Although it's probably not in that genus as far as we're so far. I think, as you can see over here, it's sort of got a big question mark as to where it falls, but it's thought to be more closely related to the kakapo from what I was reading in this study, as long as I interpreted that correctly. That appears to be the conclusion so far. It's been dated as being around 16 to 19 million years, which would be the Miocene epoch. And here it is, a height comparison. It stands at about 1 meter high, or probably closer to 90 centimeters. So here it is compared to an average human female. Has mass of about 7 kilograms. So that's double that of the heaviest known parrot, the kakapo. So this was a fat parrot, if you've ever seen one. And due to this, it was quite possibly flightless. So, yeah.
Mood.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't want this if you've seen the video of the guy having a parrot with his head, right?
Yes.
Imagine if it was this thing.
Yeah. It was the Louis Theroux, wasn't it?
I don't remember who that was.
Louis Theroux.
I honestly don't remember. I thought it was going to be David Attenborough, and I'm pretty sure it was the kakapo. Because it was going through, it's like, they have like weird mating rituals, I believe. So, that's why I'm pretty sure it's the kakapo.
Maybe it wasn't. I can't remember. I thought it was Louis though.
Just go parrot 6 head. I guarantee. I think it's gonna bring it up. Go parrot 6 head.
All right, fine. Okay, it did come up. But...
Yes. I knew it. See, I know how to Google.
I mean, you know what? I'll give you that. Let's see who it is once it fucking loads. Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry. Okay. Damn, we were both wrong.
Not who I would have remembered. I mean, still close enough.
Professor Mike Archer speculates it would have had a massive beak that could crack wide open anything that it fancied. So very strong beak, apparently. It may have had conventional parrot diet whilst also possibly dining on other birds or even parrots. So maybe the kakapo was possibly one of its prey. We really don't know much about its diet right now. It's very fresh in terms of study. This is, again, a very recent sort of discovery. Precedent for its predatory nature sits not just with its size, but with its rarity in the deposits, as well as other members of its family, like Kia, being known to prey on sheep. So that's partly why we think it may have been predatory, just based on the behavior of its close relatives. Yeah. And here's some other pictures here. It lived in a diverse subtropical forest where many species of laurels and palms grew with podocarp trees. This environment would have provided it with an abundance of fruit and other parrots and pigeons. Being in the same era as the Adsbill, it's thought it would have been a competitor on the ground, along with other forerunners of the moor. Yeah. And as you can see here this is Canterbury Museum. Go see it. I haven't, but seems like they've got a pretty big display of this guy over here. They seem to be pretty up to date with a lot of their specimens. And here's a depiction of some of the environments that it probably would have chilled in, possibly walking around on the ground.
The kind of foresty, wet areas.
Pretty much, yeah. So pretty much the same as, kakapo and other things closely related
but
to
I guess it makes sense why that same Bathins area, I was looking at it too. It seems to kind of make sense based on its location. Kind of good water sources, close to Moiraki boulders, like pretty good area.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was pretty much all I've got for now. Was those 4. I do have a lot of other things I've been doing research on in a similar topic. I could probably do a whole nother episode on birds. Shockingly, we've got a lot of birds in this country and always have. It seems to be a common theme that we got going on here. So yeah, a lot more birds to come, guys. And other things, creatures of the deep. Like I literally had like a whole nother couple of pages, like several pages of research that I had done, which I wanted to make sure everything was as accurate as I could get before, I went and talked about these, because they're like, I'm no expert in this field or anything. It's not something I necessarily know about to a great deal, and a lot of this has very fresh and a lot of contradictory information out there, so I did my best to make sure it was all very as accurate as I can get it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to include the citations down below, which have all the sources from everything that I've drawn from, as well as pretty much a reference pretty much for every single claim I've made there, or more or less. Yeah, but I've got a little end quote here that I would like to end on. But before we get to that, do you want to go over just what was your favorite?
Oh. Honestly, it's gotta be the kaiju penguin.
The kaiju penguin?
Kaiju penguin wins. Like, I want one of those. I need them. I wish they exist still. Well, especially because actually it was kind of freaky, but at uni a couple of years ago, Bluebird, they, as like a promotional thing, they put this giant fucking penguin inside this like box just in the uni, and like the box must have been like maybe 7 foot tall. The penguin was probably at least. Oh, actually, no, it must have been taller because the penguin was like 7 foot tall. It was a massive fucking penguin anyway. It was for the silly like prize thing they had, but I'm just imagining that's the penguin that I'm kind of holding it to. So I've got a good gauge for how tall the penguin is.
So
I wish it was real.
You chose the tallest, fattest thing that we've seen tonight, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Because fat is good.
That is good. All right. I think mine might be Squawkzilla, but I think it's just because the name. It's a pretty cool
the
name.
It goes
Both
pretty
names.
hard, and I mean, I do like the fact that it is kind of a massive Kia. That's pretty cool.
Massive, possibly predatory Kia. Sorry, Kakapo, actually, probably closer to.
Sorry, yeah.
Predatory Kakapo. So, yeah.
But no, I definitely have to think, they're all, I mean, now I really want to know about the goose. So next, if we're doing another bird one, I need a giant goose.
Well, like I said, I got a whole nother episode, but even that so
Good.
far doesn't have the goose on it. So I could have so many episodes just on extinct aves, honestly. There's
I need
so
the
many
goose sooner rather than later.
We got so many cool birds, guys. Like, go check them out.
I also love how yours are going to be so much more like, yours are just going to be all these fun, cool, interesting history things. And I'm going to make people think really hard.
Yeah, and it was like hard trying to like substantiate a lot of this information because I had to go like scientific sources and stuff because like I went to Auckland Museum and that still has like the older New Zealand giant penguins and stuff, like a lot of still outdated sort of exhibits there, so it didn't really do too much help. The most helpful one was probably the Asbill. They still had a lot of information on that one. They didn't really have the laughing owl there at all, because that doesn't seem like that one gets much love, unfortunately. I don't know why, but I really like the laughing owl. I just felt like it deserved to be on this list. Plus, that one had a lot of information because it had been around very close to European settlement. So yeah, but
I mean,
like
birds are cool.
Exactly, birds are cool. And I'm just going to end on this quote before we go out from Trevor H. Worthy. Of these on the restrictions of Pelagonaths to older and larger continental islands, New Zealand, Madagascar, New Guinea, and associated islands follows a common pattern. For all truly oceanic islands and the smaller, more isolated continental islands where faunas derive from dispersal, usually only one group spawned giant forms. However, which group did so follows no obvious pattern. It seems likely that the stochastic, although oftentimes directional nature of successful dispersal and competitive exclusion by original founder species is what constrained the evolution of giant birds on smaller isolated islands. If the first to arrive on an island was a megapede or pigeon, then they had free rein to occupy the giant bird niche. Giantism in insular birds appears to have been associated with niche expansion, usually into browsing niches occupied by mammals in continental settings. The New Zealand mainland is larger and more ecologically complex than most islands and lacking mammalian predators. Predictably, has produced the greatest diversity of giant avians anywhere. There you go. That was a fucking mouthful.
We got all the big birds.
We do. In short, New Zealand has the most big birds out of anywhere.
Fuck yeah.
We win. We win the big bird competition. All right.
That's why we have Bird of the Year.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us, guys. And we'll see you in the next one.